Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is me, Ezekiel Ricey Rose here. This is the new day after the other day from the big storm. It was a big, quick, massive storm that happened. There was lightning, rain, wind, and after the storm, it felt different. The atmosphere, the wind, the energy. People were like driving in a hurry. There were sirens everywhere, and this is what it looks like now. It's like all normal. It's like nothing even happened. The weird part is there was clouds, and now it's all clear blue sky. Like, it's like if nothing even happened. I remember it, clear as day. It was crazy. I literally, I was right here. I was right here. I stood right here. And, so, in this area right here, where I'm pointing at, was a wall of lightning. There was a huge wall of lightning. That was insane. I couldn't get over that. And then the flash was right there. Whatever, I can't see. And let's see, right over here somewhere. And it was like a flashbang, bro. And then, but in the beginning of it, alright, hold on. Explaining this is kind of fun, it's like, holy cow. So, in the room, I come walking out here, I walk outside, something, I felt something off, something didn't feel right. And then I'm like, looking over here, and there's a cloud, and I'm like, oh, a big storm's gonna happen right when I point like this, with my thumb, at the cloud, boom, a huge thing goes off, big bang, lightning, and that's when everything starts going down. I stepped on something sharp. I think I'm sharp today, hey, okay. But, it's like nothing even happened, it was dark. Then the air felt weird. Like, breathing didn't feel normal. It was hard to breathe, really. It was not, and it was really musty. It was really scorching hot. And now, it's like if nothing even happened. And all the cars are driving normal. People were not driving normally when this storm was happening. I mean, there were sirens everywhere. And there's cops everywhere, too. There's cops at, like, certain stores. It was just weird. The lightning was loud. It shook the ground. Like an earthquake, but it was happened so quick. No one expected it, But I felt something weird. So, yeah, not normal at all. Of course not. God's telling us something, right? So, yeah. I do feel something weird. Something bigger is gonna happen than this. I don't think Jesus is going to walk the earth yet. There's this huge theory of people saying he's going to walk the earth again. No, it's not. Scripture says Jesus comes when we don't expect it at all. When it's not even in a thought process. See, I'm not worried for Judgment Day. At all. No. I'm going to heaven for sure. I'm excited for that. And it's not being cocky. If you don't know you're going to heaven, then you better step into it. Step to it. Religion's a real thing, and the thing about religion with people and Christianity, a lot of unbelievers think it's just a myth. No, it's not just a myth, because I've had a lot of miracles, and I'll explain them all, I've had angels touch me, I've had Jesus touch me, I've had God show me deja vu visions that actually happened. It's a real thing, it's not a hoax. Bible is literally being answered at the moment. Everything according to what's going on right now already happened in the Bible. Bible says certain things will happen, and it's matching scriptures. So, yeah. I mean, I've always known there was a God. When I was born, I've always felt something by me. I was alone a lot, but I didn't feel alone at the same time. I've always heard things. I would even say this. I even heard things, and people think I was crazy, but no, it was God. It was Holy Spirit. The reason why I'm clean and I'm a virgin is because of God. Every time there was something nearby, something would say no. Something would say, don't go there. Don't go to that person. It's powerful, man. And no one really taught me anything about all that stuff, but God did. God said it's all bad. And it is. What do you know? Crazy what God can do to protect his children, you know? And that's the thing. Children on Judgment Day they're automatically gonna go to heaven because they don't know what sin is. So Jesus is gonna allow them to go to heaven. When I was a child, Jesus already knew what to do. He already knew. You know, he knew that I didn't know what anything was, but he knew what to tell me what right and wrong was, you know? And that's the powerful thing about it. I really do feel like I'm going to see something big. It's crazy because I said this to my family not too long ago. I'm going to see something big. The future's going to unfold. You know, it's just like it's kind of weird, you know? Like, oh, we're going to have a storm right when I point. Right when I point. The timing, bro. It's weird, man. And it could be a coincidence, but is it really? With my life and my experience? No, I don't think so. Not to my knowledge, no. You know, God's real. You know? And the world's going down in a handbasket. You know, and it sucks. You know, I've actually been saying this to God. I want to experience what people made before it's too late. You know, I want to be able to experience the world and experience life, not worldly things. But people are amazing. People make awesome things. People do amazing things. I want to be on the world a little longer because I want to see what happens to the world. I'm very curious where this generation's going to go. You know, I'm really curious. I want to know. You know, I really want to see what the future holds. I want to see what robotics can do, you know. I'm really curious. I'm not scared of the future. I'm not scared of technology. I'm not scared of World War III. I'm not scared of any of that. When you have enough faith, if you have that enough power in your heart from God, you don't fear anything but God, you know. And that's the thing. You know, like in church, I've been feeling God's presence increasingly strong. Because in church, I'm literally like kind of dancing around, put my arms up in the air, because I feel it, you know, and I've been doing this for a couple of months. I've been constantly in God's presence, you know. Like, I don't even get depression as much. I don't get sad anymore. I don't get these weird mood swings will come across to me, but then they're gone, right? The power of Christ is pretty powerful. You know, and that's why I've been making my social medias all about Christ. You know, usually I'll make them about my music and stuff, but and like my experiences with myself and my life, but I've been putting faith, God, in everything I've been doing. Makes sense, right? You know, I mean, the stuff I did before wasn't bad. I was just making content about like gaming and music and this, and God would be involved, but not as much. Now God's involved all the way, and now I'm seeing everything. Everything's being answered in a specific way, you know. And yes, people might think I'm nuts, crazy, but Christians will understand exactly what I'm saying, and that's the point. Because Christians, when Judgment Day comes, they're not gonna be like, they're gonna be like, well, we knew this day would come, you know, because Christians have the strength of faith, and they know what's coming. We've read it in scriptures. We've seen signs. We've known this, you know. That's why we go to church. We find those people to group up with. Find your people, all right? Find your people. That's all I could say, you know. Will I ever know when Judgment Day comes since I'm seeing so many signs? I don't know. Honestly, I have a feeling I might get a hint or something. So something tells me I'm going to see something big, ginormous. Ever since I was a child, I said I'm going to see something big or I'm going to be big, you know, and I don't know what that meant. My whole life, every single year, I've been feeling that, you know, and I don't really know what that means. I don't think I'm going to get a hint for Judgment Day. I highly doubt that because we don't know. We are not supposed to. But here's the thing about God, all right? You know, and here's the weird part. God's not going to do anything yet because after this storm, there's actually a rainbow afterwards, which was pretty nuts. You know, God's promising us a better life, you know, and after this little storm, I have a feeling that's going to change a lot of things. I don't know. I think this storm shook up the world. But this storm didn't happen everywhere. I was texting certain people from different areas to see, and they didn't get anything. Well, what are people here for? Spreading the word, spreading the message. So, I think, since I've been doing this, before all this happened, I've been making, like, kind of like leadership statements and talking about, I'm going to lead people to Christ. I want to lead people to Christ. I want to help people get saved. I've been spamming Jesus content on my social medias, as you can tell. And, I think this is a sign, right? As I was praying a lot, and I was like, I want to help people get saved. I can pray to get 5 people saved emotionally than physically drag someone to safety when it's not my job. And I've been making these statements where it's kind of like making sense now. I think there's going to be some big things happening. Christians are only going to understand this. That's the sad part, but that's good. People think I'm psycho. I'll talk to those people. I'll be like, hey, God is real. Go into Christ. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. There is no bad sacrifice or nothing that will hurt. There's no pain involved. Just some sacrifices and some addictions you're going to have to let go. But you will highly, highly love it afterward. For me, it was easy getting into Christ. I didn't have any addictions. I didn't have any problems with myself. The only thing was video games and video games were an addiction. They still are, kind of. Not really at all, but working out, that's one of them, and making music. But with all those things, those can be used for the good all the way. Like, working out makes me stronger. Making music makes me speak. Video games are a hobby. But, getting into Christ, I already believed in God. I never heard of Jesus until, like, a couple of years ago. But it made sense, because I had some pretty cool incidences, a couple years ago, I was going to give up on my life. I was going to give up, but I got dropped down to my knees, literally. And the object in my hand that I was going to use to end my life, take it all, was, it got hit out of my hand and I fell. And that's when it said, look up, never give up. It's all making sense now. And with the angels, I almost fell over a bridge one time when there was cars going by because I was walking on a bridge. Stupid idea. Then when I almost fell, something was on my back. Something was holding me. And I was the only one on the bridge besides these vehicles. They were big semi-trucks. And that's why. Obviously. They're big and they're gnarly. Alright? But, the other night I tried to take this cross off. And I couldn't take it off. The latch is right here. Hold on. Now, I put this on a couple of times where I can take it off very easily. I couldn't take it off. I couldn't get it off. I literally was trying to get it off. No, it said. Jesus said, don't take it off. Keep it on. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that means something, right? Because, this cross has a lot more on it. My name's on it too. I put my name on the cross. My name is on there. I put my full self on Jesus. Because I want Jesus to take the wheel. I want Jesus to run my life, and he's going to. That's what I've been doing. And this cross, it's strong, right? Something big's gonna happen. I know it. I've kind of seen it, and it's not him walking again. I know that. I hope I get married before it all happens, right? But, wow. My whole life, when I was a toddler, I've always said, I'm gonna be big, or I'm gonna see something big's gonna happen with my life. Am I going to experience something to spread around the world that makes me big? I don't know. And I might get people going, oh, whatever, but, like, it's all matching up. It's all making sense. And that's the part where, the thing is, I've always wanted to help people, and I still do, even if I got, screwed over by almost practically anyone. The thing is, I went through war with depression. I went through a lot when I was a child, but I survived clean. I faced reality my whole life, I never needed medication. I took medication but quit 3 years ago, and therapy 3 years ago, because I knew I never needed it. I know myself because of what God tells me. There's certain things that I feel, and it's very accurate, as you can tell. I'm always right about something because God tells me something that's similar. But there can also be tricks that the devil can say as well. But I know the highly big difference of the other side's defense. I know all those signs, and that's great. And it's good to know. God will send me challenges. He has been for sure. But the way I've been handling them recently have been a lot better than I have been years ago. I would sit down, get depressed, hate life. I love life now. Everything I look at is positive. Like, that doesn't happen at all. I was super negative on the world. God is giving me power right now, like no other. And it's insane. But with great power comes with great responsibility. Seeing visions and having all these predictions and seeing it and having it happen, it's a big thing. It's a big deal. But it's a big reward that God's giving me. And the thing is, get ready because, life's about to change. I have a really big feeling that this was just the hint of it. This was just a, hey, stay tuned. I'm here. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more ruptures and rafts on the world, but that's just God getting ready for the big thing, for Jesus to walk again. I'm ready for it.